Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's JB, the Ranch Mechanic. Today I just wanted to show you a quick video here. I'm doing a little modification to my 07 Tahoe here. The stock headlights on it are really beat up. I've actually cleaned them up, repolished them, and recoated them with UV a couple of times here. But, you know, out here, I mean, look around. It's just, all of our roads are like this stone and everything. And now we're getting into the winter months. It's the week before Thanksgiving 2019, and they're going to start putting gravel on the roads to keep the ice and stuff down even more than what we already have. So rather than fighting the OEM headlights and trying to keep them clean, I just broke down and just bought these El Cheapos. They look kind of cool. I mean, they got that, you know, that LED U-bar daytime running light deal, and they're projectors. I'm going to end up getting an HID kit for this thing. I have some cheap Amazon LED headlight bulbs in there right now, and they're decently bright, but let me show you what these look like. So yeah, let's set them on. I mean, the U-bar is not that bright. The LED headlights are actually not too bad, but the reason I'm making this video today is that I've converted the daytime running lights and the park/turn signal bulbs to LED. Obviously, you can see it's hyper flashing right now. I can't stand that. I think that looks really just sloppy. And no offense to you if you've put LED bulbs in your vehicle and, you know, you just don't care to add resistors or whatever. But what I'm doing today is adding resistors. As you can see, let me switch this around. Let me go over to the right side here. As you can see, the right side has the resistors installed, or a resistor installed temporarily. I'm just doing some testing. I finally figured out what it is that you need to do in order to get the resistor to work. You know, if you've ever installed resistors before, it's not that difficult. You just need to take a resistor like so, like these little cheapo gold ones that you can get on Amazon or eBay, and you just tap into your, on the Tahoes and the GMT900 trucks, the signal wire in the headlights is blue and white. So that's what I've got here, and typically you just jump that from the blue and white wire to one of the black ground wires. Well, I've done that. I've tapped into, well, I haven't done every one, but as you can see, I've tapped into the main harness, I've tapped in here, I've tapped in there. And when I jump that resistor across the ground, what happens is that rather than stopping your hyperflash, you lose that bulb completely. Your parking lamps will work. That's the odd thing. I'm trying to find a way to set this thing in here without it falling out. Your parking lamp will still illuminate, but when you turn your signal on, rather than it hyperflashing, it does nothing. You get no current to your signal at all if you jump that resistor from ground to the blue and white wire in the harness, okay? And it took me forever to figure this out. I could not figure out, I thought I shorted something out in the BCM. So I thought that I really screwed something up by, jumping the wrong wire or whatever. So finally I just, in frustration, just started ripping fuses out. I checked every single fuse and relay in the main panel under the hood, and finally I got in here and I started going through fuses, and luckily by the time I got to the fourth one, which is this 15 amp guy right here for your courtesy lights, that was blown. So that 15 amp fuse for your courtesy lights controls the signal, the juice for your signal wire. So I don't know why that is or what it is, but I ended up figuring out that, you know, obviously I replaced that 15 amp fuse with another one. And walk back over here. I figured out that you do not need to jump that resistor from the blue and white wire across to a ground wire in the harness. What I did, why it was working before, is that I had the headlight laying up. I had some different LED bulbs in here in the stock headlight housing. So I just had to clearance that a little bit. So that's why that's kind of cut away, but I just touched the resistor to ground here without tapping into the ground wire on the harness, and it worked. So the blue and white wire there, plus grounding your resistor directly to a ground source. I'm going to put a ring terminal on the end of this and ground it right into the subframe for the radiator, and that'll provide a good ground for it. But you do not need to bridge that wire in the harness. You just tap into the blue and white wire and then ground the other end of your resistor directly to a ground point, and that will give you your signals back without blowing that 15 amp fuse. I don't know why the body control module does that. I don't know why it blows them out like that, but it does not like seeing that signal crossed. So that's what you need to do if you're installing LEDs in a GMT900 truck. I'm pretty sure, and this will apply to your Tahoe, your Suburban, I believe the probably the Yukons and Yukon XLs and whatnot, and probably most of your Silverados, Sierras. I know the Silverados and Sierras have the 2 turn signal bulbs per side, so the wiring might be a little bit different for those, but for sure on Tahoes and whatnot, just tap into that blue and white wire and then ground the other end of the resistor directly to a ground point. Do not try to tap it into the harness. You'll just blow fuses and end up with all kinds of frustration. So, all right, guys, one last thing. I just wanted to kind of show you the finished product here. I got my resistors mounted down behind the headlight housings, and I just ran my ground right up to here. This whole outer shroud for the radiator support is made out of aluminum, and it's really easy to get self-tapping screws to drive into. So I did the same thing on both sides. As you can see, there's our left signal. And there's our right signal. So that problem is solved. And just in case you wanted to see it with the daytime running lights going, they are actually extraordinarily bright. I'm very impressed. These are just inexpensive LED bulbs on Amazon, and this is broad daylight, and they are more than bright enough to function perfectly well as a DOT signal. I mean, they're extraordinarily bright. Now, I'm not sure if it's coming through on the camera. The way I'm seeing it is that it almost has kind of a greenish hue on the LEDs, but they are bright, crystal clear white in person. So I'm very impressed. All right, guys. So there it is. That's the finished product. And I neglected to mention before, but I did use heat shrink tubing and proper connectors and everything. I didn't just hack this together. I use the marine grade heat shrink, proper ring terminals, properly crimped connections, all that stuff. I take pride in doing wiring stuff on this truck just because I've seen cars catch on fire from improper wiring, and I don't want to be that guy. So I know it looked a little bit shoddy when I had the headlights taken apart, but that's only because I was testing stuff. I hadn't had a chance to actually properly put everything back together. So yeah, I use heat shrink tubing and all the right stuff for that. So there it is. That is the finished product. So if you have any trouble with this, if you're running into the same issue where you're trying to wire up resistors and bridge that ground and blue and white wire for your signals in the front there, again, I'll just say it one more time, do not bridge those together. You just tap into that blue and white wire with your T-tap or whatever it is you're going to use, and then run that resistor directly to its own ground point. Don't try to tap into the harness, and then you won't have any issues. But again, it's a 15 amp courtesy light circuit that blows on these. So if you end up running into that problem, check that fuse first. I know I've read about trying to source this down, I read about some other issues where there was something poking into the wiring harness. You could have a shorted wire or whatever, but if everything works before you start doing this project, then all of a sudden you lose your turn signal circuit, it's 99.9% likely that it's going to be your courtesy lamp fuse that blew. So check that in your interior fuse panel on the driver's side and give it a look. And if you wire them up this way, they'll work just fine for you. So anyway, thanks again for watching, guys. Have a happy Thanksgiving. If you like what you see here, go ahead and hit like. If you want to subscribe to the channel and see more little tidbits like this every now and then, go ahead and subscribe. I try to do videos like this every now and then. If I run into something that other people might be struggling with, I try to make a quick video on it just to help other people out. Hey, Riley. What are you doing, dog? What are you doing? You've been getting into the cats again? Look at your nose. What have you been doing? Oh, boy. She's our lab pit bull mix, and now here comes Saber. He doesn't want to be left out of the attention. Hey, buddy. What are you doing? Whoa, hey. Hi, whoa. Whoa. Get off the lap, dude. Jeez. Big ham. Anyway. So, yeah, I try to put out videos like this every now and then just to help you guys out. So, if you have any questions, let me know. Leave a comment. Do my best to get back to you. Other than that, guys, have a great day. Have a great Thanksgiving. Hope you guys all have a wonderful time, spending some time with some family and eating a lot of good food. So, anyway, we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.